Okay, so sticking with the theme for this week, another athlete I've been working with the last couple weeks, very high medial plantar arch structure, dealing with some chronic ankle instability, ATFL, site-specific pain, some chronic foot pain. And what we talked about earlier in the week is this relationship between the medial arch and the lateral ankle. And when that medial arch is real high like that, we really got to focus on strengthening big toe flexion, strengthening intrinsic foot muscles. And so on these first two drills here, that's what we're seeing here. This one with the kettlebell being a little bit more of a mobilization technique as well. Now here on this single leg iso, this is from a couple of weeks ago, and on this we're getting some delayed pain where she's coming out of that iso position and then starting to feel pain on that ATFL. This was our compound from the other week. Similar setup here. You notice she does have a heel floating position. This is really to kind of drive foot intrinsics and some of the proprioceptive qualities while getting under some compound structural loading. I would say last week we did okay with this. It wasn't fantastic, but she was able to manage it. And then we come into this week. So this is from the other night. And we already noticed the heel position much higher. Pain levels were much lower this week. She was getting up to like a 6 or a 7 a week or two ago. And then now, kind of getting more into that 3 as a peak and more of a resting 1 to 2. So we can see much better positioning of the foot. She's still kind of biasing the trunk position to stack over top of the ankle, but one thing at a time here. Now we've moved the kettlebell over to the same side, the ipsilateral side, trying to get more pronation as we go into that dorsiflex position, working into our compound movement here. Now we still have that heel elevation, but you notice the back foot is down this week. And that may seem like it's out of order, where we would progress to a single leg rather than progressing to two-legged. However, with this one and the positioning of this, I have the progression as being more of a split stance because we're simply able to push harder. So still floating the heel in the front, but now getting a little bit more push. Here we're working more of a long lever iso, so this is going to be a little bit more driven towards posterior tibialis, and then also to getting into a little bit more hip extension as we go into that plantar flex position. So all in all, doing a really great job through these progressions. She's an absolute stud athlete, works really hard. And with these athletes today, the demands are very high. The workload is very high, multiple sports, multiple teams for the same sport. So foot and ankle injuries, stress fractures, very common. All these things are something that we need to really focus on as a maintenance and a preservation thing as much as a retroactive thing.